What's going on everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Noman and today's analysis video is going to be about the Premier League game between Arsenal and Tottenham. So Arsenal lined up in a 4-3-3 formation and both their wingers played really narrow in this game. Aubameyang and Nicolas Pepe moved to the central areas with possession, and the fullbacks occupied the wide areas. Their formation with possession was very similar to Liverpool's 2-3-5 with narrow front three and high fullbacks. Tottenham, on the other hand, were lined up in a diamond 4-4-2 formation on paper, but their formation on the ground was mostly 4-2-3-1 with possession, with Son and Lamela on the wings and Eriksen was playing at the number 10 spot. And they changed their formation to a flat 4-4-2 without possession, with Son and Harry Kane staying up. Arsenal started the game really well, and they were looking the better side during the first few minutes of the game. We all know that Tottenham like to play from the back, so Arsenal tried to use their positional pressing to block Tottenham's passing lanes and force them to go long. Arsenal tried to use Lacazette and Nicolas Pepe to cover both of Tottenham's defensive midfielders, and they forced Tottenham to either go wide or long as Arsenal had tightly covered the central zones. Narrow front three and narrow midfield making a strong central overload to stop the central penetration and force Tottenham to the wide areas. Tottenham's central passing options are tightly blocked by Arsenal's central overload, and Tottenham are forced to go long. And Tottenham lose possession. Harry Winks and Moussa Sissoko have been averaging 71 and 50 accurate passes per game this season. They are the ones who normally build Tottenham's play, and if one of them is marked, then the other one drops to help out in the build-up. But in this game, Arsenal had covered both Winks and Sissoko through their central overload. Winks and Sissoko only managed to play 34 and 29 accurate passes in this game, which is not even 50% of what they normally do. Since Arsenal's central overload was making it difficult for Tottenham to build their play, so Tottenham decided to go with a more direct approach. Long pass from the back to Harry Kane, who lays it off in the path of Son. Harry Kane was used as a target man to win the aerial battles, and Kane's deeper position has forced David Luiz to step out. David Luiz steps out, and that leaves the gap open for Son's run. Harry Kane wins the aerial battle against David Luiz, and Son is now in a 1v1 position. Tottenham's plan to go with the direct approach and use Harry Kane as a target man, with runners making runs behind him, actually turned out to be a great one. And this is how Tottenham scored the first goal as well. Once again, direct approach, long pass to Harry Kane, and this time Sokratis leaves his line to fight for the ball. Kane once again wins the aerial battle and lays it off in the path of Son. And Tottenham are once again in a 3v3 position, and Eriksen scores the goal. Arsenal's offensive game plan in this game was very similar to Liverpool's attacking pattern. With possession, both Aubameyang and Nicolas Pepe played really narrow to force the Tottenham defense to get narrow and to create spaces on the wide areas for their fullbacks. Narrow front three are keeping the Tottenham defense narrow to create spaces on the wide areas. Both fullbacks are moving up to provide the attacking width. Crosses from the wide areas with the front three attacking the box. Both the fullbacks played really high in this game, as the front three were very narrow. Aubameyang and Nicolas Pepe were playing very narrow, and thus the Tottenham fullbacks were mostly forced to get narrow. But at times when the Tottenham fullbacks stepped out to cover the high Arsenal fullbacks, it left the space open in between the centre-back and the fullback, and Tottenham's midfielders were often too slow to cover those gaps. This time Sanchez has moved out to cover Kolasinac, and that leaves the space open in between the centre-back and the fullback for Aubameyang's run. Sanchez once again steps out to cover Kolasinac, and he once again leaves the space open in between the centre-back and the fullback. Aubameyang once again makes the run in the half space. Arsenal mostly tried to attack from the left side in this game, where Sanchez was playing. Sanchez is not a natural fullback, and thus he often struggled to deal with these overloads. He moved out to the wide areas too early before any Tottenham midfielder could provide him any protection, and that left the gaps open in between him and the centre-back. Arsenal played a total of 25 crosses from these wide areas using their fullbacks. But the high position of their fullbacks was their biggest defensive issue as well. Tottenham kept a flat 4-4-2 formation without the ball, and they kept both Son and Harry Kane high up the pitch all the time. And whenever they won possession in their own half, they immediately tried to release their front two in the wide areas to isolate them in a 1v1 position against the Arsenal centre-backs. Very similar to what Arsenal did last week against Liverpool. Narrow front three, high fullbacks, and the midfielders have also moved up. Tottenham win possession in their own half and they immediately try to release their front two in the wide areas. Eriksen's first time pass to Son, and Tottenham now have 2v2 to start their counter-attack. But thanks to Leno, who was able to deny Tottenham from scoring the goal. Kolasinac once again got out of his position and Tottenham once again looked to attack that wide space. Sissoko to Son and Son to Lamela in the space that was left open by Kolasinac. And once again the centre-back is forced out in a 1v1 position. Lamela to Son, who once again had time and space to take a shot at the goal. Another issue for Arsenal was the lack of protection from the midfield. Guendouzi and Torreira were moving up to press, while Xhaka was the one staying back to provide protection to the defense. But the combination of Eriksen and Son often easily took out Xhaka. Eriksen drops in the space to receive the pass from Danny Rose, and as he drops deep, he pulls Xhaka out. Xhaka moves out to cover Eriksen, and Son immediately moves in the space that was left open by Xhaka. Danny Rose to Harry Winks, and Harry Winks to Son in that same space. And Arsenal's midfield is now easily taken out, and the defense has no protection. Sokratis is now forced to step out of his defensive line, and that again leaves the defense in a 2v2 position. But in the end, Aubameyang's blindside run gave Arsenal the all-important equalizer. Tactics played a big role, but in the second half it was Arsenal's intensity that made a big difference. Overall, it was a very entertaining game for the neutrals. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm really sorry about my voice today. I just got some flu. Hopefully I'll be fine for the next video. Thanks again.